On the very first day of school, she was treated differently simply because of her gender. The teacher asked the class a question. Ruth was the first to raise her hand, but the teacher skipped her and chose a boy who raised his hand later. That boy gave the wrong answer. Ruth raised her hand again. The teacher glanced at her name, then called on another boy in the back row. Ruth was about to give up, but after hearing yet another terrible answer, she raised her hand one more time. The teacher was a bit surprised, but finally called on Ruth. Ruth confidently gave her answer.
So if Dr. McGee had set realistic expectations instead of making grand promises, Hawkins' award likely would have been less.
Seeing the look of approval on the teacher's face, Ruth knew she had gotten it right. However, not long after Ruth started school, her husband was diagnosed with cancer, a type with a 95% mortality rate. It was a devastating blow for both of them, but Ruth refused to give up. From that day on, after finishing her own classes, Ruth rushed to her husband's classrooms to take notes for him. Back home, she would repeat everything the professor had said, then she would help him complete his homework. At the same time, she cared for their daughter. By the time everything was done, it was already midnight. Only then could Ruth begin working on her own assignments. Thanks to her dedication, her husband recovered. He not only graduated from Harvard, but also landed a legal job in New York. Ruth's own studies never fell behind. To stay close to her family, she applied to transfer to Columbia University and continued pursuing her dream of becoming a lawyer. In 1959, Ruth graduated first in her class from Columbia Law School, earning a doctorate in law from one of the top universities in the world. However, Ruth went on to interview at 13 law firms, and every single one turned her down.